Years too late, 100 years too late, Rick Rhodes. Thank you.
How many of you were born in the right century? One, two, a couple of you. How many of you were born in the wrong century? Well, we got kind of, that's not the answer I was expecting, but now my whole speech is blown. I sure was born in the wrong century, 100 years too late. All my heroes, except possibly Mother Teresa, were born in the 19th century. Abraham Lincoln, the best president we ever had. Mark Twain, one of my heroes. Ulysses S. Grant, who won the Civil War. Abner Doubleday, invented baseball. What happened in the 20th century? You know, throughout history, we had several ages. The Iron Age, the Bronze Age, the Golden Age, the Silver Age. I read somewhere recently, in the latter half of the 20th century, we had 7 ages. That's a hell of a lot for one lifetime, don't you think? I mean, one is enough. The plastics age was one of the ages we had this century. We have plastics everywhere. Plastics are good, plastics are bad. Our houses were made of plastics. Plastic boats never rot. What's wrong with rotting now and then? They're good at plastics, they're bad at plastics. Another age we have is the nuclear age. We can split the atom the last half of the 20th century. That's good, and that's bad. You know what happened with nuclear? We can destroy ourselves with nuclear power, and also maybe the answer to the future. That's another age. Another age we have is the space age. 6 times we've landed on the moon. We visited, our machinery has visited other planets. Another age. Again, that's good or bad, but that doesn't put any bread on my plate. I guess if you work for NASA, that's real good. So that's another age. I forgot what the 3 other ages were, but this is the one that really gripes me. The computer age, the information age. This is a terrible age. I mean, life was better before we had it, in my opinion. Years ago, in this last century, we've had different types of people rise to the top. We had engineers. They called the shots back at the end of the 19th century, beginning of the 20th century. They built things. Skyscrapers, bridges, you name it. One of my favorite is Washington Roebling, who built the Brooklyn Bridge. Later, salespeople began to rule the world. Salespeople beat the pavement. The more they did, the better they did, the harder they worked, the more money they made. That was good. After that, in the latter part of the 20th century, we had the financial people on Wall Street ruling the shots. They weren't as good as the other two, in my opinion. But what followed was worse. The geeks. Do we have any geeks here? Oh my God. The geeks rule. They're going to rule for a long time. They're best suited for this age, this new information age. I'm just going to use a few examples of things that really got screwed up in the last 20, 30 years. Cell phone. About a little while ago, I had one in my car, and all things plopped right into a glass of water in the front seat. And of course, it was fried. So I went to get a new cell phone. And I like big ones because it had less, they all hide somewhere sooner or later, but the bigger they are, there's fewer hiding places for them. So my cell phone was toasted. I got another cell phone. It had so many darn functions. All I wanted to do was store a few phone numbers, call a few people, and it's really nice to have them in my phone. This thing's got, applications, games, settings, submenus and submenus. I'm sitting there trying to make a phone call in my car, and I just think I don't care at all to have what's there. It's nuts. It's nuts. I'd be better off taking a handheld phone and cranking it in my car than using one of these things. But you gotta have the dang things. It's a fact of life today. You can't live without it. Blame the geeks again. They keep making these things more complicated and smaller by the year. Not good, not good. Another thing I'm really going to blame the geeks on, computer viruses. These are really evil geeks. Sitting around doing nothing and thinking of viruses. I don't think there's enough punishment for these. If I was president of the world, I would put the most punishment for people that spread computer viruses on anybody. Now, if you're a big corporation, you've got other geeks you can hire to knock these things out quickly. But if you're a small businessman like myself, and I get a computer virus on my computer, oh, it's toast. I mean, I'm ruined. I'm ruined. So it's a terrible thing. And I had a quote for these type of geeks. They're demonic. demonic, very evil geeks to mess around with computer viruses. So that's all part of the information age, the bad side of it. Here's another one to touch on. Well, your computers yourself, you buy a computer, we're just going to focus on the software. You buy a computer, and it's out, I know how to use 1 or 2% of it, it's outdated in about a year, 3 years. Then you got to do it again, then you got to do it again, then you got to do it again. It's ridiculous, it's crazy. Another one, another bad thing, you get on the phone, you call customer service of some company, and you say, for accounts receivable, press 1, for accounts payable, press 2. If you want to be a vendor, press 3. If you want customer service, press 33. You press 33. Then it says, if you want this, you press 1. You want this, you press 2. You want this, you press... You got a simple answer. I just want a very simple question. I just can't get it. It's crazy. All I ever wanted to do is ask, does Phil still work in the mailroom? Automating customer service in this information age, God help us.